Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/slash Tales from Tech Support. In today's episode, one Excel workbook crashed my PC. You just lost your job. Another win for the little guy? Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. One Excel workbook crashed my PC. So, I'm not tech support, I'm just a regular desk jockey. However, I'm not an idiot. I've got an A+ and a Network Plus, and had a couple of old MS certs that have expired. Since I'm one of the few people that have some tech skills, I sometimes get to fix stuff that's broken. Sometimes I fix stuff if it annoys me enough. I have a coworker who is 15 years younger than I am and has 2 college degrees that has no idea how a computer works. I got my first PC after I graduated from high school in the early 90s. I should be the old man that doesn't understand computers. Well, we're all working from home and doing our duties. I get to be backup for those duties. Simple things that are less than one person's job but easy to do. Plus, somebody has to do these type of things while people take PTO. Backup duties get handed around. Several of us cover for each other. Today, my coworker asks me to cover for her on the big client. She's had PC issues. A lot of PC issues. Her friend is coming over at lunch to figure them out. One of them is easy to diagnose. Bad inverter cable or bad inverter board itself. Her friend is coming over to figure out why it flickers and why it runs so slowly. She asks me to run the big client today. No problem. Make some support tickets if any show up, check on the current support tickets, and keep the big client informed. Keep the big client happy. So, I check my folders in Outlook and download yesterday's Excel workbook. The workbook is the daily report that we send them. Sure, it's simple, but it works. Then I open the workbook. It takes 4 minutes and a GB of RAM. I have no idea why. I keep poking around trying to figure out if it's infected. Is it running some weird formula? Some crazy reference? I don't really know Excel as well as I should. I complained to her about the workbook in Teams. By this time, her friend has showed up, she's going to lunch to get her PC inspected, and I start working on this stupid Excel workbook. She comes back from lunch. She's getting a new screen, and he removed some bloatware. I ask, do you use these tables? What's a table? This workbook has 7 total sheets. 2 for current issues, and the rest are past 5 months. All months before that have been moved to a second workbook. Of course, both of them combined are too large to email, so they have to be zipped up to be sent every day. I look at the sheets and each one has a table maxed out. About 65,000 rows and the columns go to triple letters. I message the boss about this workbook. He says, actually, that's probably just the one that I made for her. She's probably still using the same one. He clearly just clicked the upper left corner and tabled the whole stupid thing. So, I go to the last 2 sheets and untable them. The file gets bigger. As I untable the 3rd sheet, Excel freezes. I watch in Task Manager as it slowly climbs up to 2.5 gigabytes of RAM. My fan sounds louder than I've ever heard it. Force reboot. Tables are pretty good at storing formatting according to the Googles. Having infinite formatting without tables is quite hard on Excel, I guess. That also explains why the file got larger. It explains why it was worse even though I was saving it in between edits. At that point, a friend of mine comes up with the simplest solution. Make a new workbook and copy / paste the data over. I'd been wrestling with this thing for hours. I'm an idiot for trying so hard. I do just as he advised. I format the cells out to 500 rows, and about 100 columns, and freeze the top row. Whole thing takes about an hour while doing my regular work. At most, this thing has 166 rows of data. This thing is so sloppy that I realize there are actually about 200 worthless columns hidden in the middle of it. In the end, she's excited that I kept her easy-to-read formatting and added back the old months. Even with the added 5 months of data, I reduced the size of the workbook from 91 megabytes to 818 kilobytes. I should know better than this. When trying to fix a problem, it really can boil down to one simple Excel workbook screwing up the whole PC. Even the smallest glitch can kill the whole system if it grows big enough and carries on long enough. You just lost your job. I used to work for some big real estate company as a remote help desk agent. I have tons of stories, but this one always made me laugh. I get a call from a really annoying lady that would always put in hardware orders for new hires last minute and expected the equipment to arrive before the new hire started working. Every time she would threaten us with reporting us to our managers if we didn't have her stuff in the office in time, but we honestly didn't care since there's nothing we can do about it. That depends on whatever company was used for shipping the item. This time she is extra rude and yelling that this new hire is a VP, and he can't start without a laptop and phone. Threats start, yelling gets worse, tons of this IT department is completely useless, and I say ma'am, you just put the order in yesterday, and the ticket clearly states shipping is 3 to 5 business days, but either way this is not an IT issue since it's not a technical issue, IT service request or any sort of service degradation. She gasps and says, the seriousness in her voice at this point was deadly, that's it, you just lost your job, and hangs up. Sure thing, I get called up to my manager's office to explain everything because she finally actually reported as she's been threatening to do for the past 2 years. I explain the situation to my manager, so our VP asks us for a list of tickets put in by her for this same thing. Of course, IT is not responsible for people ordering things late. An annoying lady was laid off because everyone is getting their equipment, access and badges late thanks to her. She calls a week later and asks to speak to me specifically. I hope you're happy now, you left a single mother unemployed. Hangs up. Wait, what? I need to feel sorry for her not doing her job? Just another day at the help desk. Another win for the little guy? I work as a field tech for $ISP, a little local company in the US. $Client has been having issues lately with their gateway router, which is almost 10 years old. $Client, being a fairly high-functioning adult with more sense than God gave a goose, uses this thing called a search engine, actually figures out that their gateway router is probably old, and replaces it. $Client gets a fairly basic home mesh system from the local box store, avoiding the kit from those vendors who want to just suck up all your data. $Client gets this system home, plugged in and powered up correctly. $Client's smart TV, less than a year old, from the people who make those cool phones, connects up to the new Wi-Fi network without a problem and starts throwing cannot communicate with server errors. Client calls mesh system support. Support blames TV manufacturer. Client calls TV support. Support blames mesh system manufacturer. Client calls mesh system manufacturer support. Conferences in TV manufacturer support. Both mutually agree to blame the ISP. $ISP phone support determines $Client's connection working great. Warns of service fee, but $Client has had enough and is totally willing to pay the $50 to have someone actually look at their stuff. Enter me, Field Tech. I quickly determine that the new router/mesh system is not, in fact, routing IP traffic. It is actually eating traffic. I log into the gateway and then run the initial setup process. The new router begins routing traffic. The TV works. $Client mutters about recovering the service fee from their router manufacturer. Field Tech agrees. It's really not so much the client's fault here either. He downloaded the appropriate smartphone app, connected to the appropriate Wi-Fi network, and saw the pretty "congratulations, you're online" screen presented by said app. Just tap here to finish setting up your network. Mostly I'm impressively aghast at the support for the mesh system. How did they miss needing to finish the initial setup?